male 23. However, we are actively trying to identify, we've identified the suspect in the shooting, who is a resident of Farmington Hills, described as a 26-year-old black male by the name of Delano Ward. Again, his name is Delano Ward. We know who you are. Turn yourself in. The message should be clear. We're not going to tolerate violence in the city of Detroit. If you come to Detroit and engage in violence, we will find you. And so with that, I'll take any questions. I think you might want to also talk about another non-fatal shooting. And oh, by the way, the three victims in the Greektown shooting are all residents of the city of Detroit. They're recovering from their injuries. Again, around the same time, a little earlier in the morning on the 6th, there's a shooting at Woodward and Adams. At this point, we're not certain why that shooting happened. It was a suspect who shot from his vehicle, striking a victim. He was quickly apprehended by the Detroit Police Department, has been taken into custody. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions you might have.
Chief Craig, on the Greektown shooting,
Please do me if I just need one at a time. So,
Chief Craig, with the Greektown shooting, you mentioned that I guess they were trying to settle some type of beef. Do we know what the cause of the shooting? Was there a fight beforehand or anything?
Unaware. We believe it's a gang nexus. But again, the gang, the members primarily reside outside of the city of Detroit, out of the county of Wayne, and so they come to Detroit. We believe it's over a prior shooting incident that occurred late last year. And so we're still working through that. But again, I got to give a tremendous amount of credit to the Detroit Police Department, the investigators who, in a seamless way, begin to leverage technology right after the shooting incident. And that starts with Captain Johnson, who was leading the charge at the scene and begin to put things in motion, such as getting our intelligence officers deployed to the location and then working with our real-time crime center to get images of what took place. And it was a laborious task given the number of people who were downtown, very difficult. Yes.
And Chief, I'm sorry, just for clarification, because we just came in. The Delano Ward, he is a suspect also in the Greektown shooting who is still being sought?
He is still being sought. Again, we have arrested one of the four who's been taken into custody, who is a resident of Livonia. He's described as a black male 23. The other suspect that we want to turn himself in, we know who he is. He's a resident of Farmington Hills. His name is Delano Ward, black male 26. I also indicated before you came in that the suspects involved are all out of the city. One lives in the county of Wayne, the Livonia resident, and the victims in this case are residents of the city of Detroit. All non-fatal shootings recovering from their injuries.
And it's believed that the shooters or the four suspects, this is perhaps gang-related?
We believe from a prior incident, they decided to bring their beef to the city of Detroit.
And were they beefing with any of the victims? Or?
We're not absolutely certain. We did make an additional arrest by one of the victims that was targeted. That victim was arrested for CCW, carrying a concealed weapon.
Do you know who the other two suspects are? You mentioned there's four.
We have information on them, but we want to make sure we arrest Delano Ward, a resident of Farmington Hills. Any other questions?
One more, Chief Craig. What do you have? I mean, you mentioned that, these suspects are from outside Detroit. You mentioned, not to bring this type of drama to Detroit. What do you want to say, I guess, to the people of Detroit who still come down to downtown to greet
Detroit's safe, and regardless of what the one or two critics that suggest that it's dangerous, I vigorously push back on that. It was one of those nights, lots of people congregated. This is no different than some other cities. But the key is you live outside the city of Detroit. You bring your violent behavior here to the city of Detroit. What you may not know, we will identify you and we will arrest you. That's the bottom line. And you know, to those who think that crime is out of control, and while I'm not waving a flag of success, but you know, we had probably our lowest number of homicides in 50 years last year. As compared to this time last year, we're down, as of today, 16 homicides. In terms of non-fatal shootings, as compared to this time last year, we're down 26. And clearly, when you look at our robbery numbers, down 87 robberies as compared to this time last year. Carjackings, we're down 41 compared to this time last year. So for those who would suggest that crime is out of control, it's absolutely a work in progress. It's not just the police that make the difference. I've oftentimes talked about the importance of our prosecutors, our judges, and certainly I want to applaud Judge Prentice, who really recently, a very violent offender, was found guilty and is going to be serving 24 years because of his violent behavior. So I'm very excited about his, which illustrates the importance that we have to work together. This is not just the Detroit Police Department, but it's really a collaborative of all of us working together.
Chief, what would you describe as being the biggest component in having this at least one arrest and trying to identify the other suspect? Was it a multitude of cameras, police presence?
Well, we're very effective at leveraging our technology. We do it better than most, and our team quickly responded to the shooting incident, and you just have to imagine the complexity of pinpointing the situation using video, and there's lots of people in the area. They were able to effectively get out of the downtown area very quickly, but they could not run the video images. And so the challenge for us was pinpointing. It was done in a very covert way, if you will, when the shooting happened. So it took a lot of work by the investigators to decipher who was shooting. We were looking at 2 sets of video coverage, both from our friends at Rock and also our green light. As you know, we have green light cameras in the Greektown corridor. Commander Franklin has met with and is meeting with business owners in the Greektown area. They continue to support us. They understand. In fact, when this shooting took place, the shooting officers were deployed within feet of the shooting, within 60 feet. So we were sufficiently staffed on this Cinco de Mayo holiday, so that certainly wasn't the issue.
Chief, was this Livonia man arrested last night or this morning, and can you say where?
He was arrested in Livonia 10 p.m. last night. I won't disclose the specific address. And again, we are continuing to work in locating Mr. Ward, a resident of Farmington Hills.
And how many people in the 4 do you think were shooting? Just one of the 4?
Right now, our information tells us 1 shooter.
Can you say if the Delano Ward or the Livonia man was the shooter?
At this point, I'll just say that that we're still investigating. I don't want to disclose that information, but Mr. Ward is a key suspect. He's 26 years old, black male.
Do you have a photo of him?
We do. Do we have that available? Can we make it available? You have it with you?
And do you anticipate, I don't know if we can answer this, but do you anticipate an arraignment on the Livonia man today?
I'm not certain. We're still working through the case, so it'll be prosecutor's decision as to whether or not they're going to sign a warrant on the suspect we now have in custody. But certainly he was part of the group. And again, there were 4 suspects working in concert, 3 victims that were shot who are now recovering.
3 victims out of Greektown?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
Those 3 victims out of Greektown?
3
Yes.
people were shot, non-fatally, who are recovering from their injuries, and they are all Detroit residents. And the suspects are out of county, out of city. Any other questions? Thank you very much.